It was an inspired decision to put the invention of Hugo Cabret onto Martin Scorsese's desk. But what led to you doing it?
We were shooting Departed. While we were shooting Departed, Marty and I were talking about how it'd be fantastic to do a movie that we could show our young kids. And I could see through quite a few conversations I'd had with him in the past that he was looking to do something a little different and looking to do something, like I said, that he could work with kids on. And about 6 weeks later, someone in my office came in and threw this manuscript on my desk, and it was The Invention of Hugo Cabret. The book hadn't been published yet. And it was kind of like something out of a movie, where I've got one of the greatest filmmakers that's ever lived, you know, asking me if I ever find something in that genre that could, you know, suit him. And then this book comes down, and there's nothing better that could suit him than this.
And did you see a lot of Scorsese in Georges Méliès?
Absolutely. There's no question about it. And I knew that's what would get him. You know, I actually sent the book to his wife when I wanted to send it to him. He was doing post on The Departed, and I didn't want to distract him, so I sent it to Helen. And next thing you know, he calls me and said, "We've both read it and we love it." But definitely, I knew that that was the part of the story that he was going to get engaged to.
Having done some research into Martin Scorsese's childhood,
Right.
He had to spend a lot of time in isolation due to asthma.
Asthma, right.
So there's kind of that link with Hugo as well.
A little bit, yes, a little bit. I don't think that, I mean, I never really thought of that, and I don't think he does either. I think that that's, you know, when Marty's telling a story, I think there's bits of everything. I remember being on the Aviator set, watching him shoot, you know, parts of Howard Hughes, and I would go, wait, there's something, you know, there's a connection. And Marty's lived a full life, and he's made movies, you know, he's got a body of work and movies that we all know, and I think most of us admire and love. And so I think there's bits of Marty in all the characters, in all the films, and certainly stuff he could relate to in Hugo with Georges Méliès.
It's your fourth film together.
Right.
What makes you such a great collaborative pair?
I think there's a whole list, and I think, you know, first and foremost is we respect each other's space. You know, he's a director that to me is still one of the best directors that's ever lived. So no one tells a story better than Scorsese, and so, you know, we have a great chemistry between us when we're making a film. It's hard to really put it into words, but it seems to work.
Was Hugo quite tough to finance?
Yes, there's no question about it. It wasn't the easiest. You know, I have a fantastic business partner who really believes in the movies that I want to make, and so he got behind me in a big way. And I have to say, sitting here now, and, you know, the movie's out in the States, and seeing that everyone seems to like it, you know, the critics seem to like it, and to me, I'll say it's the best movie I've ever made, by far.
I heard its second day takings were 40% up on the first day.
Right.
Saying that how, you know, it shows how word of mouth has really spread.
You know, that's what the movie needed. About 4 or 5 weeks ago, Paramount and I discussed releasing it in a smaller way in the States and letting it be discovered. And, you know, when you're making a movie that's not a branded name or a comic book film, you know, you've got to market it really carefully. And, by the way, you can do a great job and get killed for it. You can do a bad job and get killed for it, you know. And I really believe that this movie needs to be discovered, and it needs to have word of mouth. And I think if people give it a chance, I think they would really enjoy the entertainment factor of going to the theater and seeing this film. The whole 3D alone, let alone the storytelling.